If you have ever walked away from an interaction feeling that something unspoken just happened, yet you could not define it, this is where you begin to understand why. A woman rarely grants physical proximity without an internal calculation already taking place. She may say she is fine, she may maintain composure, she may speak casually, yet her body has already decided whether you are safe enough to enter her personal field. There is one subtle area that reveals this decision more clearly than words ever could, and it is not what inexperienced men assume. When a woman allows you to touch the small of her back, just above her hips, she is revealing more about her internal trust than any flirtatious statement could communicate. That region is neurologically and emotionally guarded. It is close to her center of balance. It is physically vulnerable. Access to that space is not accidental. It is permitted. And permission at that level reflects a shift in her nervous system from caution to openness. Most men misunderstand this moment. They interpret it as simple attraction or as entitlement to escalate further. That reaction exposes immaturity. The small of her back is not an invitation to take more. It is an invitation to demonstrate control. When she allows your hand to rest there without flinching, without adjusting away, without tightening her posture, she is testing whether your presence remains calm under access. Her subconscious is observing your restraint. If your hand becomes possessive, if your body leans with urgency, if your breathing changes noticeably, she will register the shift instantly. Safety will recede. However, if your touch remains grounded, steady, and unhurried, her nervous system settles further. This is not about dominance. It is about regulation. The lower back contains a high concentration of nerve endings and is associated with balance and support. When she allows contact there, she is allowing you into a space that supports her physical stability. Symbolically and neurologically, she is evaluating whether you are emotionally stable enough to match that proximity. Women are exceptionally attuned to micro-shifts in energy. They sense pressure through muscle tension. They detect urgency through subtle tightening of grip. They notice hesitation through inconsistent contact. When your touch is relaxed yet deliberate, you communicate that you are not overwhelmed by access. Overwhelm signals scarcity. Scarcity signals emotional hunger. Emotional hunger destabilizes attraction because it implies that her validation regulates you. When you remain composed, your nervous system becomes the anchor. Anchors create safety. Safety allows bonding chemicals such as oxytocin to release more freely. This biochemical response is not romantic fantasy. It is attachment physiology. She begins associating your presence with calm rather than pressure. That association deepens emotional openness. The small of her back is also socially ambiguous. It is intimate but not overtly sexual. This ambiguity is precisely why it is revealing. It sits between polite distance and explicit closeness. When she allows your hand to remain there during a greeting, while walking through a doorway, or during a lingering embrace, she is silently assessing your capacity for subtlety. Most men either avoid the area entirely out of insecurity or grip it with unconscious possessiveness. Both extremes signal imbalance. Balanced presence requires awareness without escalation. It requires the ability to hold contact without claiming ownership. Ownership energy triggers defense mechanisms. Stability energy triggers trust. Trust is the gateway to deeper intimacy. If she shifts her body closer rather than away, if her posture relaxes instead of stiffening, if her breathing slows rather than quickens, you are witnessing her nervous system aligning with yours. That alignment cannot be forced. It can only be invited through self-control. Self-control in this context means your desire does not dictate your behavior. You are aware of attraction, but you do not allow it to override composure. Composure signals maturity. Maturity reduces perceived risk. Reduced risk increases willingness to open further. This is why the men who succeed in building lasting attraction are not the most aggressive. They are the most regulated. They treat access as responsibility rather than conquest. The moment she allows your hand to rest at her lower back is not the moment to accelerate. It is the moment to demonstrate patience. Patience communicates abundance. Abundance implies that you do not need immediate gratification to feel secure. When she senses that you can maintain proximity without pressure, she experiences relief. Relief is powerful because many women anticipate escalation when physical closeness begins. When escalation does not come prematurely, her trust expands. Expansion creates space for emotional depth. Emotional depth differentiates fleeting interest from sustained desire. Most men sabotage this moment by interpreting it as proof that she is already emotionally secured. That mindset introduces entitlement. Entitlement subtly shifts tone, posture, and timing. She will feel it immediately. When she feels entitlement, she instinctively reclaims distance. The man who remains grounded instead communicates that closeness is mutual, not claimed. Mutuality fosters respect. Respect stabilizes attraction. There is also a power dynamic hidden here. Power does not belong to the one who initiates touch. It belongs to the one who remains internally unaffected by it. If her permission excites you visibly, she feels the shift. If her permission is met with steady presence, she feels control in your composure. Control of self is more compelling than control of her. The psychological effect of this restraint is cumulative. She begins to categorize you differently from other men. You become associated with safety rather than tension. Safety allows her to reveal more layers gradually. Layers unfold when there is no fear of being rushed. Each time, she allows that subtle contact and experiences calm reinforcement instead of escalation. Neural pathways strengthen around trust. Trust then converts into deeper emotional investment. Investment builds when she chooses closeness repeatedly. Choice creates attachment more effectively than persuasion ever could. Ultimately, the significance of touching the small of her back is not about the location itself. It is about what the permission represents. It represents a shift in her internal evaluation of you. She is moving from assessing whether you are a potential threat to evaluating whether you are a potential anchor. An anchor does not pull aggressively, it holds steady. When you understand that attraction grows through emotional steadiness rather than intensity, your behavior changes naturally. You stop chasing signals. You start honoring them. You stop interpreting access as entitlement. You interpret it as responsibility. That subtle shift in perception alters how she experiences you. She senses maturity without you declaring it. She senses strength without you displaying it. And when she begins associating your touch with calm rather than pressure, with stability rather than urgency, you move from being merely attractive to being internally trusted. That is the threshold most men never cross, not because they lack desire, but because they lack restraint. When you cultivate restraint, when you treat her permission as something to protect rather than exploit, you create a dynamic where she leans in voluntarily. And when she leans in by choice, not because she feels pulled or pressured, the connection deepens quietly and powerfully. In that moment, the real shift is not in her behavior. It is in yours. You are no longer reacting to access. You are embodying steadiness within it. And that steadiness, calm and self-contained, becomes the foundation upon which genuine attraction can expand without force.